Ever wondered how we talk about things that happened in the past? It's not just about nostalgia or reminiscing good old days. It's about sharing our experiences, our stories, and even historical events. The past tense is a powerful tool in our communication kit, allowing us to paint pictures with our words, transporting others to a different time and place. It's an essential part of everyday conversations and storytelling. So, are you ready to dive into the world of past tense? In English, we use the past tense to talk about actions that have already happened. So what exactly is this past tense? Well, it's a way to express an action that has been completed, or a state that no longer exists. Imagine you're telling someone about the delicious pizza you ate last night or that exciting game you won yesterday. You would say, "I ate a pizza," or "I won the game." Notice the verbs ate and won. They're in the past tense, indicating the actions were completed in the past. Let's consider another example. If you had a great day at the beach yesterday, you might say, "I swam in the sea." Here, swam is the past tense of swim. So we use past tense to narrate actions that have happened in the past, whether they happened just a moment ago, yesterday, or even 20 years ago. But how about we make it more fun with a little story? Once upon a time in the charming town of Verbville, lived a lively character named Past Tense Pete. Past Tense Pete was no ordinary resident of Verbville. He was a chatterbox, always sharing stories of his past adventures with anyone who would listen. He was known far and wide for his unique ability to perfectly describe events that had happened, painting vivid pictures with his words that made listeners feel as if they were right there, experiencing the events themselves. Now, Verbville was a town like no other. It was a place where words came alive, where verbs danced and nouns pranced. And in this town of talking words, past tense, Pete was a figure of fascination, a character of charisma. His tales were not just tales, they were lessons in the art of past tense, demonstrations of how to bring the past to life using just words. Pete was a tall, lean figure with a twinkle in his eye that hinted at the many stories he had to tell. He had a booming voice that could be heard echoing through the town square as he narrated his adventures. He was always seen with a book in his hand, a book that held the countless tales of his past. He was a storyteller, a teacher, a friend to all in Verbville. Every day, Pete would take a stroll through Verbville, greeting the verbs and nouns, adjectives and adverbs, all the while sharing snippets of his past. His stories weren't just entertaining, they were enlightening. They were lessons, examples of the past tense in action, and the residents of Verbville couldn't get enough. Past tense Pete was more than just a character. He was a guide, a mentor, a beacon of knowledge in the world of verbs and tenses. His stories were not just tales of adventure. They were lessons in the art of storytelling, demonstrations of how to weave the past into the present using the magic of past tense. So what did past tense Pete do next? Let's find out. Yesterday, past tense. Pete decided to go on an adventure. He packed his bag, zipped his jacket, and stepped out into the crisp morning air. The sun had just risen, painting the sky in hues of pink and orange. Pete embarked on a journey, his heart filled with anticipation. Pete strolled through the park, the leaves crunching under his boots. He spotted a squirrel darting up a tree and a family of ducks swimming in the pond. He paused for a moment, soaking in the tranquil scene before he continued on his way. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew his hat off his head. Pete chased after it, his laughter echoing through the empty streets. He caught up to his hat at the foot of a hill, and without a second thought, Pete decided to climb it. He huffed and puffed, his muscles ached, but he didn't stop. He kept pushing until he finally reached the top. Pete stood there, panting and exhausted, but the view was worth every drop of sweat. He saw the city sprawled out before him, the skyscrapers piercing the sky, the river snaking through the heart of the city, and the people bustling about their day. Feeling a sense of accomplishment, Pete decided to celebrate. He visited a nearby ice cream shop and ordered a large chocolate cone. He savored every bite, the cold sweetness melting in his mouth, the rich chocolate flavor tingling his taste buds. As the sun began to set, Pete decided to head home. He walked down the quiet streets, his heart content, his mind replaying the day's adventure. He unlocked his front door, stepped inside, and kicked off his boots. He made himself a warm cup of tea and curled up on the couch, his eyes heavy with sleep. And just like that, his day of adventure came to an end. Pete fell asleep, his dreams filled with the day's escapades. He had climbed a hill, chased after his hat, and even treated himself to a delicious ice cream. Every action, every experience was narrated in the past tense, painting a vivid picture of Pete's adventure. Remember, when we tell a story about something that happened in the past, we use the past tense. The past tense takes us back to that moment, allowing us to relive the experience through the storyteller's words. It's like a time machine, transporting us to a different time and place. And that's how past tense Pete's adventure ended for the day, but what did we learn from his story? Past tense. Pete's adventure was full of action, wasn't it? And all those actions happened in the past. Let's take a moment to revisit the story and see how the past tense was used in our tale. Our friend Pete woke up one morning and decided to embark on an adventure. Notice the past tense verbs here, woke and decided. These words describe actions that took place in the past, hence the term past tense. Pete then packed his bag and set off on his journey. Again, packed and set off are verbs in the past tense. They tell us what Pete did before the current moment. Throughout his adventure, Pete encountered various challenges and surprises. He climbed mountains, swam across rivers, and even fought a dragon. Each of these actions, climbed, swam, and fought, are in the past tense, showing us that these events have already taken place. Remember, the past tense is not just for telling stories. It's also used in everyday conversations and writing, whenever we talk about things that happened in the past. Did you eat breakfast this morning? You ate, which is the past tense of eat. Did you go to school or work today? You went, which is the past tense of go. The past tense can also be used to describe a condition that was true in the past. For instance, when Pete was younger, he was afraid of adventures. Was is the past tense of the verb be, and afraid describes Pete's past condition. In addition, the past tense is used to talk about habitual or repeated actions in the past. Pete often visited his grandmother when he was a child. Visited is the past tense of visit, indicating a past habit. Finally, it's important to know that the past tense can be regular or irregular. Regular verbs simply add ed to the base form, like walked or jumped. Irregular verbs, however, change in unique ways, like swam or fought. So, let's summarize. The past tense is used to talk about actions, conditions, or habits that took place in the past. It can be regular or irregular, and it's an essential part of both storytelling and everyday English. Remember, whenever you're talking about something that happened before now, you're using the past tense, just like past tense Pete. And that's a wrap on our journey to the world of past tense with past tense Pete. We've traveled together through a tale of adventure, where every step of the way was an opportunity to see the past tense in action. You've seen how Pete used the past tense to share his story, to express his actions, feelings, and thoughts. Remember, the past tense is not just about grammar rules on a page, it's about bringing your stories to life, making your conversations more vivid, and helping others to journey with you through your memories. It's about painting a picture with your words, a picture that's as clear and as vibrant as the one Pete painted for us today. So don't just listen and forget. Take what you've learned today and apply it. Use the past tense in your conversations, in your storytelling. Keep practicing and soon you'll be a past tense pro like past tense Pete.